Let us continue salt analysis. In the salt analysis, we are doing confirmatory test for analysis for a second group. In the second group, we will talk about copper analysis. Copper analysis. Copper analysis. For copper analysis, we are taking the filtrate. The filtrate contains copper in the form of complex. Copper in the form of complex is present. For copper analysis, we are taking the filtrate. The filtrate contains Cu NH3 4 times 2 plus aqueous. Now, we will divide this filtrate into 3 parts. First part we will divide this filtrate into 3 parts. Now, first part of filtrate we are taking. This filtrate is blue color, deep blue color. Cu NH3 4 times 2 plus complex is a deep blue. To this solution, we are adding acetic acid. And then potassium ferrocyanide solution. Potassium ferrocyanide solution. Now, the added acid does what? The added acetic acid does what? Now, this filtrate is containing this complex. Filtrate contains CuNH3 4 times 2 plus complex. This complex is in equilibrium. The equilibrium right side contains copper ions and ammonia molecules. So and so equilibrium present in this filtrate. In this filtrate, so and so equilibrium is present. This filtrate is having deep blue color. To this filtrate, you added acetic acid. This acetic acid reacts with this ammonia to give a salt. So, this acetic acid reacting with this ammonia to give what? Salt. The salt is ammonium acetate. Okay. So, this acetic acid is reacting with this ammonia and giving salt. The salt is called ammonium acetate. So, due to this acid, concentration of ammonia decreases. Therefore, equilibrium shift to right side. So, the complex is converting into free copper ion. So, add the amount of acetic acid such that it will neutralize all the ammonia, and this amount is such that this complex should be converted completely into copper ion. Okay. So, we are adding acetic acid. This acid neutralizes ammonia. So, concentration of ammonia reduces. So, equilibrium is affected. Forward is favored. So, complex is converting into free metal ion. So, due to acetic acid, this complex is converting into free metal ion. This metal ion replaces these potassium ions. This metal ion replacing potassium ions. Therefore, we will get Cu2 plus aqueous and ferrocyanide ion. Cu2 plus aqueous and ferrocyanide gives Cu2FeCN 6 times. You are getting Cu2FeCN 6 times. Now here plus 2, here 4 minus, So if you divide, it will become +1, it will become -2. That 2 you bring this side. So Cu2. So this complex we are getting. This complex is a precipitate. This precipitate color is a red brown. This precipitate color is red brown. So red brown precipitate you are getting Cu2 FeCN 6 times. So red brown precipitate you are getting. So to the first part of this filtrate, you are adding acetic acid in order to neutralize ammonia and making the complex as free copper ion. Then you are adding potassium ferrocyanide. This is called ferrocyanide, ferrocyanide ion, ferrocyanide ion. You are adding potassium ferrocyanide, ferrocyanide ion, and a cupric ion becoming Cu2 FeCN6. It is a precipitate. This precipitate is having color red brown color, reddish brown color it is getting. So it is also having what color means chocolate colored precipitate. We can say it is also, we can say, chocolate colored precipitate. Okay. Now we will take second part of filtrate. We will take. Now we will take a second part of filtrate. Second part of filtrate we are taking. To the second part of filtrate, what is added? Acetic acid solution is added. Acetic acid solution is added. Then potassium iodide solution is added. Then we are adding potassium iodide solution. Potassium iodide solution we are adding. Sir. Now, due to acetic acid, this complex is becoming free copper ion. This free copper ion reacting with this I minus, reacting with this I minus. So, free copper ion reacting with the I minus, to give cuprous iodide, to give cuprous iodide. Cuprous iodide is formed. This cuprous iodide is a white precipitate. White precipitate. Here, the +2 copper is converting into +1 copper. Copper is having +1 oxidation state here. Here copper is having +2 oxidation state. Here copper is having +1 oxidation state. So +2 copper ion is converting into +1 copper ion. So copper is undergoing reduction, while this iodine undergoes oxidation to give I2. This I2 with I minus solution dissolving and becomes I3 minus complex. This I3 minus complex is having brown color. This I2 is solid. This I2 is solid. This solid I2 dissolves in I minus due to formation of complex I3 minus, which has brown colored. Now, this white precipitate present in this brown colored solution. This white precipitate present in brown colored solution is the result of this test. So, in this second part of filtrate, you are adding acetic acid in order to convert this complex into free copper ion. Then you are adding potassium iodide solution. This cupric is converting into cuprous iodide, which is white precipitate. I minus is converting into I2. I2 is converting into I3 minus, which is brown colored solution. Now this cuprous iodide white precipitate is present in brown colored solution. Okay, it is the second test for a copper. Now we will go for third test for copper. We will take third part of filtrate. We will take third part of filtrate. The filtrate contains a complex CuNH3 4 times, 2 plus complex is there. To this we are adding potassium cyanide drop by drop. We are adding potassium cyanide drop by drop till this blue color disappears. Till this blue color disappearing, we are adding potassium cyanide drop by drop. So what happens here? This complex is in equilibrium. The equilibrium of the complex is left side complex, right side metal ion aqueous. and ammonia molecules. This Cn minus added potassium cyanide gives Cn minus. This Cn minus and cupric, what happens we'll see. Cupric with Cn minus gives cuprous cyanide. Cuprous cyanide you will get. It is what means cuprous cyanide. Cuprous cyanide. Here copper oxidation number is +1. +1 copper will exist in dimeric form. Cuprous exists in dimeric form. Cuprous exists in dimeric form. So cuprous cyanide we have to write in dimeric form. So Cu2Cn twice we have to write. We should not write CuCl. It is copper is +1, cyanide is -1. Cuprous cyanide formula we should not write CuCn. We have to write in the form of dimeric form. Cu2Cn twice. Cu2Cn twice. Cuprous is existing in dimeric form. Okay. Then this copper is +2 is converting into +1. That means copper undergoes reduction. Cyanide undergoes oxidation to give cyanogen. This we are getting a cyanogen we are getting. That is C2N2. Cyanogen Cn twice we can write C2N2. This C2N2 we can write NCCN. Nitrogen can make triple bond. Carbon can make 4 bonds. So cyanogen we can write like this. In this cyanogen we are getting. So this cyanide undergoes oxidation to give cyanogen. Okay. Then this cuprous cyanide, Cu2Cn twice. This cuprous cyanide is a precipitate. This cuprous cyanide is a precipitate which dissolves in excess cyanide, and becomes aqueous solution due to formation of complex. The complex is so and so. Copper is having +1, it is -1, so -4 totally, therefore -3. The aqueous solution we are getting. This aqueous solution is colorless. So the cuprous cyanide is white precipitate. This with excess cyanide. Gives aqueous solution. This aqueous solution is colorless. This colorless aqueous solution is having formula CuCN 4 times 3-. So, to this solution, H2S gas is passed. There is no precipitate. At all. This meaning is this complex has higher stability. The complex has higher stability. Therefore, it is not giving free copper ion. Therefore, no precipitate with the H2S gas. Okay. So that in the third part of filtrate, you are adding potassium cyanide. This cupric is converting into cuprous. This cuprous cyanide is precipitate. This cuprous cyanide precipitate dissolves in excess of cyanide and gives the complex. The complex is CuCN 4 times 3-, which is colorless. This complex is having higher stability, so it is not giving any precipitate with the H2S gas. Okay, so it is the analysis for copper. Copper analysis is so and so. Next we will take in the second A group cadmium sulfide precipitate will take. Cadmium sulfide is yellow precipitate. In the 2A sulfides, cadmium sulfide is yellow precipitate. Rest of the sulfides are a black precipitate. Okay. Now we will take the yellow precipitate CDS we will take. How to analyze the cadmium? That we will see. Now we will dissolve this yellow precipitate in dilute HCl. Let us add dilute HCl. This yellow precipitate dissolves and forms cadmium chloride. Then H2S gas goes away. Double displacement. Cadmium and chlorine becomes cadmium chloride. This sulfide and hydrogen becomes hydrogen sulfide. So we got cadmium chloride solution. This solution is divided into three parts. To one part, to the first part, of this cadmium chloride solution, ferrocyanide is added. Ferrocyanide solution is added. Ferrocyanide solution is added. As like copper. In the copper analysis, first we are adding ferrocyanide solution. In the same way, we are adding ferrocyanide solution. We are getting a CD2 FeCN6 complex we are getting. This complex is a white precipitate. This complex is white precipitate. In the place of cadmium, if you take copper, you will get a Cu2 FeCN6. It is red-brown precipitate. Red-brown precipitate. Now we will go for second part of cadmium chloride solution. To the second part of cadmium chloride solution, sodium hydroxide is added. Sodium hydroxide is added. Sodium hydroxide solution is added. We are getting precipitate, that is a cadmium hydroxide white precipitate we are getting. Cadmium hydroxide white precipitate we are getting. This cation combines with this anion to give CdOH twice. Cadmium hydroxide white precipitate we are getting. Then we will take third part of cadmium chloride solution. To the third part of cadmium chloride solution, we are adding potassium cyanide as like copper. Potassium cyanide. This cadmium and cyanide becomes cadmium cyanide solution. Cadmium cyanide aqueous solution. This cadmium cyanide aqueous solution. This cadmium cyanide aqueous solution takes further amount of cyanide. Takes further amount of cyanide and forms complex. The complex is CdCN 4 times 2 minus aqueous solution. To this aqueous solution, on passing H2S gas, we are getting precipitate CDS, yellow precipitate we are getting. This indicates this complex is having lower stability. This complex stability is low. This complex stability is low. Okay. So cadmium with the cyanide gives complex. The complex is CdCN 4 times 2 minus. This aqueous solution, in this the complex stability is low. So on passing H2S gas, cadmium takes sulfide and becomes a cadmium sulfide yellow precipitate. Even for copper also same test we have done. Copper is Cu plus 2 with the cyanide becomes cupric becomes cuprous. Cuprous is giving complex CuCN 4 times 3 minus. That complex has higher stability, so that is not giving precipitate with H2S. Okay, it is an analysis for a cadmium. Okay, next we will go for a group 3 analysis. We will take a group 3 precipitate. We are taking group 3 precipitate. To this group 3 precipitate, we are adding water, and then we are adding sodium peroxide. Sodium peroxide. Then the contents are heated. Then the contents are cooled, and then filtered, and then filtered. The contents are filtered. We are getting two things. One is residue. One is residue. Another one is filtrate. Residue contains group 3 precipitate FeOH thrice. FeOH thrice. This group 3 precipitate, what are the possibilities? One is ferric. Another one is chromic hydroxide, CrOH thrice. Next one is aluminum hydroxide. These are the group 3 precipitate possible. The possibility of group 3 precipitate is Fe3 plus hydroxide, Cr3 plus, Al3 plus, group 3 ions. They precipitate in the form of hydroxides. Okay. To this group 3 precipitate, you are adding water, you are adding sodium peroxide, boiling, cooling, and filtering. You are getting residue. Residue is FeOH thrice. That means ferric hydroxide is not affected by Na2O2. So ferric hydroxide is not affected by Na2O2, therefore it goes as same as it is in here. As it is here in the residue, it is there. Sorry. What about CrOH thrice and AlOH thrice with sodium peroxide? That we'll see. Sorry. Now Na2O2 is called sodium peroxide. How this sodium peroxide will be there? How the peroxide? So sodium peroxide we can write Na plus ions, and the peroxide is O2 2 minus ion. This 2 times oxygen, therefore 2 times oxygen will write. Oxygen comes under 6A group, therefore the valency shell is containing 6 electrons. Oxygen comes under 6A group, so valency shell contains 6 electrons. And minus 2 we will give minus 1 here, minus 1 here. Due to minus, additional electron we will write. Additional electron we have written. Now between these two electrons we will give a bond. Between these two electrons we will give a bond. It is called a peroxide ion. This linkage is called a peroxy linkage. So we got peroxide ion, we got. The peroxide ion can undergo oxidation or can undergo reduction. That we will see. The peroxide ion on reduction, it will become oxide. On oxidation, it will become O2. This peroxide ion on reduction gives oxide, on oxidation gives O2. Therefore, it can undergo either reduction or oxidation, depend on another reactant. Sorry. Now, this Cr3 plus, this Cr3 plus with this peroxide, what will happen? That we'll see. This CrOH thrice, is green precipitate. This precipitate with sodium peroxide, what happens means this chromium will become CrO4 2 minus. In CrO4 2 minus, chromium is having plus 6 oxidation number. In CrOH thrice, chromium is having plus 3 oxidation number. So plus 3 is converting into plus 6 means it is undergoing oxidation. Therefore, peroxide should undergo reduction. This peroxide should undergo reduction. Therefore, it will convert into oxide. Oxide in the sense water. Okay. So chromium undergoes oxidation and becomes chromate. Peroxide undergoes reduction and becomes water. This chromate is yellow color. Here cation is sodium. Therefore, this chromate will be in sodium chromate form, which will be in aqueous solution because alkali metal salts are soluble in water. So sodium chromate is in aqueous solution. Why cation is sodium? Yes, sodium only is there. Chromium is in anionic part. CrO4 2 minus is anionic part. It is called oxoanion. We can't split chromium separate, oxygen separate here. In the oxoanion, we should not split metal separate, oxygen separate. Okay. So therefore we can say chromium is in anionic part. So cation in this salt is sodium. Not chromium. Cation in this salt is sodium ions. Okay. Okay. Next, we'll see about aluminum. We'll see. Aluminum ion is in the form of aluminum hydroxide precipitate in group 3. This aluminum hydroxide precipitate is a gelatinous white precipitate. This dissolves in this one. Why is it so? Why it is dissolving? That we'll see. Why does it dissolve? Now, this sodium peroxide with water, we can write sodium hydroxide and hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide decomposes to give water and oxygen. Sir. Therefore, what is a net? We will see. What is a net? Net we will see. Net indicates here. Here 2 times water molecules are there. We will see the net. This hydrogen peroxide cancels. So Na2O2 plus water. Water one time cancel gives NaOH plus O2. NaOH plus O2. Sorry. Sodium is 2. Here also 2. Oxygen 2 plus 1 3. Here oxygen 2 times. Here 2 times. Therefore we will make it as half. Hydrogen is 2. Here also hydrogen is 2. Okay. It is balanced. Now sodium peroxide solution contains sodium hydroxide. Sodium peroxide solution contains sodium hydroxide. It is aluminum hydroxide white precipitate. Aluminum hydroxide, in the presence of excess of sodium hydroxide, it will form a oxysalt which is soluble in water. This aluminum hydroxide white precipitate with the sodium hydroxide excess dissolves due to formation of oxysalt which is soluble in water. That we will see. So aluminum hydroxide in the presence of excess sodium hydroxide solution, it is white precipitate, gelatinous white precipitate. This aluminum hydroxide dissolves in sodium hydroxide excess due to formation of oxysalt. The oxysalt is NaAlO2, which is soluble in water, aqueous solution. Sodium meta-aluminate. It is called a sodium meta-aluminate. Sodium meta-aluminate. In this, the oxo anion is AlO2 minus oxo anion. In this, now we can say aluminum is in anionic part. Aluminum is in anionic part. In this salt, cation is sodium ion. In this salt, cation is sodium ion. Aluminum is in anionic part, we can say. So we are getting oxo anion. So aluminum hydroxide is gelatinous white precipitate. This gelatinous white precipitate dissolves in excess of sodium hydroxide due to formation of oxysalt, that is sodium meta-aluminate. In this sodium meta-aluminate, aluminum is in a oxo anion. Sodium ion is a cation in this salt solution. Sir, so how group 3 precipitate we are taking? Here we have taken group 3 precipitate. To the group 3 precipitate, we are adding water, we are adding sodium peroxide, we are boiling the contents and cooling the contents and filtering. We will get one is a residue. The residue contains ferric hydroxide. This ferric hydroxide do not affect in this reagent. The ferric hydroxide do not affect here. It will remain as it is in the precipitate form. So it will be in residue. CrOH thrice is converting into sodium chromate yellow colored solution. CrOH thrice converting into sodium chromate yellow colored solution which goes to filtrate. CrOH thrice undergoing chemical reaction and becomes a yellow colored sodium chromate solution which goes to filtrate. So if CrOH thrice is there in group 3, that will go to filtrate as sodium chromate. Then aluminum hydroxide dissolves in excess of sodium hydroxide solution and goes to filtrate as meta-aluminate. Therefore, the filtrate contains sodium chromate and sodium meta-aluminate. Sodium chromate, this is going to filtrate as sodium chromate. It is going to filtrate as sodium meta-aluminate. So filtrate contains these two. Okay. Now how to analyze the residue and how to analyze the filtrate, that we'll see. How to analyze this residue, how to analyze this filtrate, we'll see. Now we will go for analysis of residue. The residue contains FeOH thrice. The residue contains FeOH thrice. How to analyze this residue, that we'll see. To this residue, we are adding dilute HCl. We are adding dilute HCl. This reddish brown residue dissolves in dilute HCl. That means Fe3 plus takes Cl minus and becomes FeCl3 solution. FeCl3 solution. And this hydroxide and H plus becomes water. Okay. Now this it is ferric chloride aqueous solution. This solution is divided into 3 parts. Now we will take first part we will take. First part of a ferric chloride solution will take. To this we are adding ferrocyanide. To this we are adding ferrocyanide. Ferrocyanide we are adding. Now here 3 plus, here 4 minus, cross multiply, 4 comes here, 3 goes here. So we will get a Fe4, Fe, Cn 6 times, Cn 6 times thrice. Thrice we will get it. It is called a ferro. Cn is called cyanide. So that we will get a ferrocyanide. This ferrocyanide is a intense blue precipitate. It is intense blue precipitate. This intense blue precipitate is called a Prussian blue. This intense blue precipitate is called a Prussian blue precipitate. Prussian blue precipitate. Now, this precipitate dissolves in excess of ferrocyanide. This precipitate dissolves in excess of ferrocyanide. So, if we take this ferrocyanide excess, the precipitate dissolves because this ferrocyanide one time is present. Ferrocyanide one time is present. It is having 4 minus. This ferric one time present. Ferric one time present. Ferric is present one time. This ferrocyanide is present one time. To neutralize the charge, K plus will be there. It is a soluble complex. Soluble complex. Therefore, to this ferric chloride solution, to one part of ferric chloride solution, you are adding ferrocyanide. You are getting Prussian blue of having formula Fe4, FeCN6 thrice. If we add excess of ferrocyanide, this Prussian blue precipitate dissolves due to formation of soluble complex K plus Fe3 plus FeCN6 times 4 minus. Soluble complex you are getting. Now we will go for a second test for this ferric. We will go for second test for this ferric. We will go for second test for this ferric. We will go it. Sir, second test for ferric. We will take second part of ferric. We will take. We will take second part of ferric. To this we will add ammonium thiocyanate. Ammonium thiocyanate we will add. Ammonium thiocyanate. We are adding ammonium thiocyanate. What is the result? Fe3 plus takes SCN minus and gives a FeSCN thrice. FeSCN thrice. It is called a ferric thiocyanate. Ferric thiocyanate. It is having blood red coloration. You will get blood red precipitate. You will get blood red precipitate. Otherwise, blood red coloration you will get it. Blood red coloration you will get it. Sir, the blood red coloration formula is what? What is the formula of this blood red coloration? One we have written FeSCN thrice we have written. What is the another possibility? This Fe3 plus in aqueous solution present in the form of complex FeH2O 6 times 3 plus aqueous solution. First, once thiocyanate is replaced by water. One thiocyanide is replaced by water. So you will get FeH2O 5 times SCN 2 plus. You will get 3 plus becomes 2 plus because of SCN minus. Then another water is replaced by SCN. So you will get SCN 2 times. SCN 2 times plus 1. Another water is replaced by SCN. Another water is replaced by SCN. Now neutral complex. It is neutral complex. Another water molecule is replaced by SCN. It is a anionic complex minus. Next water molecule is replaced by SCN. Now 2 minus charge. Next water molecule also replaced. SCN 6 times 3 minus salt. This complex ion, this complex is nothing but FeSCN thrice. Now we can say this complex is nothing but FeSCN thrice. Therefore, this blood red coloration is due to different formula. One is SCN 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Generally and simply, if you want to write FeSCN thrice blood red, if we can write FeSCN thrice blood red, like that we can write. It is a second test for ferric. Now we will go for third test for ferric. Here in the first test to the ferric chloride solution, you have added ferrocyanide. Now we will add ferricyanide. It is called, this is what means, this FeCN 6 times 4 minus is called ferrocyanide. Now we will add ferricyanide. We will add into this FeCl3 solution. Okay, we will add ferricyanide. We will add it. So now we will take third part of Fe3 plus aqueous. To this we will add ferricyanide. Ferricyanide solution we will add. It is called ferricyanide. In the ferricyanide, Fe oxidation number is +3. So here +3, here -3. So simply becomes FeCN 6 times. That's all. This precipitate is, this is a brown colored solution. It is brown colored solution. Okay. Now these are the tests for Fe3 plus. So for Fe3 plus, what are the tests? One is adding ferrocyanide. On adding ferrocyanide, we are getting intense blue precipitate. Second, we are adding ammonium thiocyanate. We are getting blood red coloration. Third, we are adding ferricyanide. We are getting brown coloration. Okay. So we completed residue. So group 3. This group 3 precipitate. We are converting into one form residue, one form filtrate. Residue contains FeOH thrice. How to analyze this residue FeOH thrice we have seen. How to analyze this filtrate? We have to see. The filtrate contains what? Either sodium chromate or sodium metaaluminate. Sodium chromate color is yellow colored. Sodium metaaluminate color is colorless. This sodium chromate is from CrOH thrice green precipitate. Sodium metaaluminate is from gelatinous white precipitate aluminum hydroxide. Sodium metaaluminate is from aluminum hydroxide gelatinous white precipitate. Sir, now first we will see this yellow colored solution, sodium chromate we will see. Yellow colored solution, this sodium chromate, chromium analysis we will see. Then the colorless solution,